Hi there, vlog. It has been some time since I filmed, but I am back. And, no, I did not just tweak out. No, I'm not going crazy. Okay, anyways, final seasons. let me come back to earth. Let me just Mac Miller this shit. Okay, hi. So, final season just ended today. I took my last final online for econ, and I had my English one in person. Yesterday was my chem final, and the week before on Monday was my stats final. And my art history one was due, I believe it's due today, but I finished it over the weekend, and that's online as well. So 2 online, 3 in person. My stats class was in person. It's a hybrid, 8-week. I'm never doing that again. I think the part that I love about the school that I go to, though, is that there's so many options that I can really choose from and, explore. And I'm not spending a shit ton of money. So that's comforting to me to know. And also having book vouchers. Like, I didn't have to pay for any of my books for the past 2 semesters because of a summer program I did. And that was really nice. I just stocked up on a bunch of notebooks, a bunch of books, a bunch of, like, today I got my prong folder for my econ. We had like a dissertation project for that class, but I was able to get a prong folder for free because we talking that summer money. But yeah, so at this point I'm just ranting, but I'm really just catching up the vlog on this. So it has been since, I want to say April that I last filmed, because I posted in February, and let's just say a lot has changed since then. So yeah, okay. I'm gonna cut to another clip, but we're going to do a little book review. Okay. Here are my books. Okay. So this is my rundown of all the books that we have read second semester, English 48, with Dr. Morse, and I love the class. Like, love is a very strong word, but I think out of all the classes that I've taken in CC and in high school, nothing compares. Even elementary, even middle school. I feel like we were a family in some literary sense, bonded by the many readings that we had. I believe it was around 16 short stories for post-midterm season. So I believe around 30 short stories that we read. This class really tested me and, stretched me as a person in thought. A phrase that I heard a lot of this semester was subjective plunger, Tralfamadorian plunger. That was one that I don't think I will forget. Toilet plunger, to be specific. And LSD trips. And Pax Vidoctmois. I don't know how to say it, but it means may peace be with you in Spanish. This class is awesome, and I appreciate all my classmates. Like, I think, like, genuinely, it's difficult for me to express, like, certain things that I'm appreciative of, because I feel like I can be very stoic with how I feel, and I am very selective with being open, and I think vulnerability is one thing that I struggle with. So having deep existential conversations in class I don't think I will be taking an English class in the future, which I know sucks. I need to focus on my STEM marks for transfer, but you know, I will always remember this class. I think this is the class that I look forward to. I start freaking out and overthinking what I'm gonna say when I get into class. Like, I think this was the type of class where I came in anxious, but I left happy. Like, I left smiling, and I never really experienced that with a classroom before, let alone the intimacy of having 15, 16 people, other students, yapping about their little existential thoughts and interpretations of the books we read. But that's enough of my yapping for now, and I'm gonna get straight to it. Of the books that we've read in class this semester, we started with Cometh by Eugene O'Neal, and this book was probably my least favorite. It was about a playwright about a bunch of drunk men who had pipe dreams, and pipe dreams are practically like their aspirations and their, you know, the endeavors that they wanted, their goals in life, what they wanted to achieve. I genuinely do not remember it with all my heart. It wasn't memorable to me. I just couldn't. And it fell into the category of like, dude, dig yourself out of this hole, because your cynical mindset towards the world is disturbing. I'll rate this one a 4 out of 10. We'll be generous. But you were interesting, O'Neal. Darkness. Okay, so I actually have 2 copies on me right now. It's actually crazy because you can see the difference in thickness, and it's actually really significant. Like, it does not look like the same stories. This one says the selections from the Congo Diary, and this one's just the abridged version. So this is the second part to my book review, and let's just get straight to the point. 2 copies of Heart of Darkness, and I was just talking about the Congo and basically how nature is always going to be overbearing or like overruling mankind, and the Congo was one of the places that couldn't be really colonized, but it's also an exploitation of like the workers out there trying to extract, it was cobalt or some sort of mineral. But yeah, I would rate this book a 6 out of 10. I believe if I were to read it again, I'd get a better sense, but my English teacher was saying how like over the many times that he's reread Heart of Darkness, he's fallen more to like the book. So, and it's a short read. It's not bad. It was 96 pages long. So Joseph Conrad, you are a short story king for this one. And then I believe after that we read Their Eyes Were Watching God, and this one is like, it's my second time rereading. First time was, I believe, sophomore year in high school, and it's not bad. Like the whole tea cake and Janie trope and just this life away from the hierarchy, not the hierarchy because she never really escapes the hierarchy, but besides when she killed, oh okay, well, anyways, it was a good book. I definitely liked it more second reread. I think revisiting books from high school is great because I don't have this sense of like, I need to complete this for a quiz, or like I need to read this because I don't have this like academic validation mindset towards reading these books. And I genuinely like, of course I have to read it in like a certain amount of time, which kind of sucks because I'm a slow reader, but like I think it taught me like I can like and love books outside of school, and it can be novels that are widely used in academic settings in high schools and stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I also want to go back and read 1984. And I was also like just watching this video on Orwell the other day and his trope of like Animal Farm, and I just thought I found it really interesting how he wrote it during when his wife was dying as well. So yeah, anyways, tangent. But this book, I'd rate it, I think, a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, maybe an 8. I'm starting to really like this book. And like her breakaway in the town, like just the social expectations there of her, you know, staying as the store clerk or like the mayor's wife, but then she breaks away and she kind of explores like this youthful side of her that's been oppressed for so long. But yeah, okay. Then fourth book was Waiting for Gadot. So this one's from high school as well, and it's practically a screenwrite or like a play, and it's 85 pages long. Yeah, 85. But okay, disclaimer, I did not read this book for the same time. I read like maybe like 30 pages in, and after that, when we had in-class discussions, I was like, yeah, we're gonna go based off my memory. Because we also watched the film in junior year, so I actually despised it the first time around, but I think the second time was very eye-opening as to this whole circular narrative and how this playwright was written so non-linear. Like, it just had all these stream of consciousness thoughts, and like it was very, I think, modernist is stream of consciousness, like free verse. The fact that Gadot never shows up either. Spoiler alert. I think this will be a spoiler alert video. But it's just telling of like, we were talking in class like a certain religious figures, religious backgrounds, and I'm not saying anything towards my religious backgrounds of a god that never shows up, but I think this is what Beckett was trying to like convey. Like, we idolize these things, and at the end of the day, they're not fulfilling. Like, they don't bring that sense of solace, and it's only through the two men, I forgot their names, but the two men that comfort each other but also hold each other back, because there's a lot of the times where they're like, oh, I think we'd be better off on our own, and then they say that again at the end of the book, or at the end of this story, and he's like, I think we'd be better off on our own, but then they end up following each other again. So it's like this whole cycle that's unending. I wish I knew more and was more in depth with this playwright, but yeah, I'd rate this one a 7 out of 10. Fifth book was The Metamorphosis. This one was so disturbing. Like, oh, like this book was so Kafka. The way he wrote Gregor as a beetle or a roach of some kind, like as an insect, was so disturbing. Like, can you imagine turning it into an insect and trying to live a life like that? Like, this man was never really free. He was trapped to the working world and the obligations of his family. And then we also see like sacrifice through him and his sister, Grete. And I just found it like heartbreaking, the sacrifice. And like, this one was pretty short too, 44 pages. It's pretty small font though, and like very compressed. But yeah, this is for sure a read if you want like an eye-opening, very transcendental, enlightenment view of the world. yeah, it really just covered sacrifice and family relationships really well. And I do want to read Kafka's other works after this. So it wasn't that bad of a read, like in terms of like difficulty, like stream of thought and stuff. Like it split it up pretty well. Unlike Iceman, Cometh, and I just can't with that book. But yeah, so I rate this one out of 10. I guess 7 too. As you can see, these books get better towards the end of the semester, which I'm so grateful for. That's Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. And oh my gosh, this magical realist fantasy novel, like her humor, like Moreno-Garcia's humor is so funny. You feel the love in this book. Like, this is the type of book where you're like, oh my gosh, what happens next? Like, I need to know their relationship status. Like, this is the type of book where she like cuts it off at the end of the chapter and just like mysterious about it, and you're like, I gotta continue. That's how I felt about the ice cream one, Love and Gelato. Okay, Love and Gelato. They came out with a movie version of that, but I don't recommend. I don't know if it was Dakota Johnson that played in that one. I don't think it was, but it was some younger actor, brunette. I think came out on Netflix, but I do not recommend. That's like A Wrinkle in Time. Like, I'm sorry, but you need to read the book before you watch the movie, or else you're gonna ruin it for yourself. And I feel like with Series of Unfortunate Events too, like the repetition is so it's so compacted in the show that you just get way more from reading the books, and it's way more detailed and there's way more like life to it. So definitely recommend the books over watching if you're planning on reading those. But I don't know if this one has a movie or not, but it would be awesome. This 18-year-old girl, or 19-year-old girl, and she ventures away from home in Mexico City, lives in Ucamel, and she escapes like her very oppressive, very traditional thought out family, and really gains confidence in her character because like she goes on this adventure with Cometh, which was the former king. Like, he held the throne to the death god in Xixibalba. And Xixibalba is the land of the dead, and practically his brother gained throne, but he goes on this adventure to gain it back. And in a sense, both characters are dying in their own ways. So I think this was beautifully written, and just like the aspects of like Hispanic culture, Moreno-Garcia did like her way of like implementing it with like magical, realistic fantasy, like realism, like was really good. So I think this book would be an 8 out of 10 for sure. Last and foremost is Kurt Vonnegut, SlaughterHouse 5, and I actually like this one. Like, I did enjoy it. I think I loved it, nor finished it. Look, I'm at page 250, so I have a solid 30 pages left, 20 pages left. Vonnegut did a beautiful job of encapsulating like war. This book practically covers like war PTSD, because I believe he fought in World War II. This book's set in like post and present World War II, like just like the flashbacks, yeah, just the memories of Billy, which is our main character. We practically go on this adventure of him writing a book, but it's kind of giving like Catcher in the Rye, Holden Caulfield, not very reliable. It's not really reliable narration, because obviously he's dealing with his PTSD from the war. We go into this whole trope of like aliens and Chalfalmadorians and their philosophies compared to humans, the subjective plunger-like creatures, as someone said in the English class. This one was definitely interesting read. I'd rate it a 7.5 out of 10. And I'm so grateful for English 48 class this past semester. I think it's been really eye-opening to like what I'm capable of in like a lit class. It's kind of like a lit class, but like a lot of student facilitated talks. So, but definitely like props to my teacher, because obviously we have like all these subjective like ideas bouncing off the walls, but he has to bring us back to base. But yeah, I actually love that class, and just the conversations we were able to have got really deep. I don't know if anyone's interested in like short stories like that. Princess Moon, it's a Cambodian poet you should check out. But yeah, these are to all my books, a tribute to all of them, and as Vonnegut says, so it goes. Okay. Ciao.